Your name on camera, please.
Okay, my name is Martinez Brown.
Hold on. All right. Now let's talk about the weather first. Just to loosen it up. It's really hot outside. Can't you agree?
I almost didn't make it here. I was thinking walking down Georgia Avenue and I wanted to collapse. So
I was like,
I want to have your speed down just in case I couldn't make it.
I was like, I know he's probably gonna reschedule or say, oh my gosh, it's too hot, so I don't want to make it out.
Luckily, it was a guy selling water out there that,
Oh, so okay.
Yeah.
You took good calls. How much was it?
It was $1.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's good.
Not bad.
Well, thank you for coming out.
No problem.
Now, I've sent you an email in reference to a one-a-day pill that you can take one a day. It's less than 25 cents each. And it pretty much is for uninfected individuals who are having intercourse with an infected individual. Now, 2 studies in Africa show that this can be effective. Not 100% effective. Of course, there is some error when it comes to the percentage. Probably 60 out of 9,000 got infected. Okay, now, being an infected individual, what are your takes on that pill?
Well, I think it's a really good thing. I mean, it's the name for, as far as what I remember, it's called Truvada. I actually take Truvada right now. I'm an HIV positive individual, and I've been positive since I was 18, and I'm now 31. So living with it and taking medicine, it comes very easy for me, and Truvada is very easy to take. But what it means to me actually is, people can have relationships with people without having to deal with the fear of infecting someone who is your partner.
Now, you did say relationships with people. Now, let's get into your personal life. Can you tell me your sexuality?
I am gay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, have you had any intercourse with any guy who weren't infected?
I have.
You have?
Yes.
And you gave him the disclaimer.
Of course, I disclose before every time I have, every time I meet someone, and when I disclose myself before I engage in any type of sexual activity with someone. So.
Okay, tell me about that experience, because I just want to be there with you.
It can be very tricky, yes. It can be very
I need you to give me details.
tricky sometimes.
What did you say? How was his reaction? And what was the follow-up?
Well, from the point I was 18 till now, till this year, I would say disclosing was very easy for me. I've never had anyone say, oh, we can't kick it anymore. We can't talk or we can't date anymore because of this. I've never had anyone say anything negative or reject me because of it. But here comes 2011, and I'm fresh out of a relationship, and now I'm dating again. And so you have to deal with the issue all over again, disclosing yourself. And I recently met someone. I met a guy, and I told him my status before things got too deep. And so he kind of freaked out, just a little bit. And
what did he say when you told him that?
Well, he told me, that I liked you a lot, and you should have a moral obligation to tell me before I even get my feelings caught up into you.
I mean, with that small, I feel like my feelings is caught up as soon as I see you. So when is it appropriate to disclose your status? When is it?
Well, legally, legally before you engage in any type of sexual penetration. That means it could be oral sex, it could be, vaginal or anal sex, or, those are the types of penetration that you can have. But you're supposed to disclose your status before you engage in any of those activities.
Do you know if that's a federal law or a state law?
It varies by state, but I don't think, from what I know, I don't know about the federal law, but from state to state, it varies.
Do you know any states that would say one thing and another state that would say another thing?
Not that I know of. I think it's pretty spread across the board, but it's the state's law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you say you give a disclosure, can we hear what you will say? I'm just curious on how, hey, now, you want your grits with, by the way.
Okay.
How do you
Well, I cheat a little bit. And so I did a little bit of acting, and I appeared on a TV show in 2005 where I played an infected person. And so I sit the person down usually after I get to know them, probably after the 3rd date. And I say, I have something to show you. Why don't you come and, take a look at this? I pull up the YouTube video where I did the scene, and, I asked them, what do they think about it? And then they normally say, well, I thought it was good. But normally some people say, is there anything that you want to tell me? Or, and I say, yeah, actually I do have something to tell you. I'm actually, part of this, I'm sorry, actually part of that is true. I am positive. And, you know, it's a good segue into the conversation. So, you know, I normally use that.
Can you tell us about that? When was it shot and which company is it with?
Well,
Which network
it was
shot on?
in 2005. And at the time it was the UPN network, which was a part of Viacom. And the show was called Eve. And the show was actually, the title of the show was called Testing HIV. And I played a doctor / counselor. You know, Eve took the gang down to get tested, and you know, they went to my clinic.
That's awesome. So I see you came up with a creative way of showing your status.
You gotta use your resources.
Were there any other failed attempts at giving a disclosure?
Well, earlier on, it was just gutting it out. You know, just coming clean with it, you know, before that video was even thought of. You know, it was just, you know, hey, I have something important to tell you, you know, you can choose to deal with it or you choose to not deal with it, you know, but I need to let you know before anything gets further, I'm HIV positive. And it was very difficult at first, you know, because I was pretty young at the time, you know, being that I was HIV positive since I was 18.
Can you help us to understand your way of getting the infection? How did you get HIV positive?
Well, I became positive from unprotected anal sex. I was on the receiving end, and I didn't use a condom, and I didn't really think that I was at risk for it. I mean, the only thing that I can remember at that time was thinking about, well, I can't get anybody pregnant, that's for sure. So, you know, I really didn't have too much guidance about it coming up in high school. They didn't talk about, you know, how men can protect themselves with other men. You know, and I think that's, you know, it's unfortunate because you have a lot of students who are coming up trying to find themselves, who they are, so forth, and they're not getting the information that they need to protect themselves and protect other people.
Yeah, I totally understand. Now, when you said that you weren't that aware, so your parents never really sat you down and talked about protecting yourself. Would you say, is it safe to say that Black parents kind of are laxy-daisy when it comes to covering?
When it comes to the topic of HIV, I would say so. Yeah, I think it's very taboo in our families. And, you know, it's something that, you know, it's just very easy to just not talk about. And so, you know, we talk about, oh, don't get anybody pregnant or don't bring nobody home and be having sex with someone and get someone pregnant. But outside of that, we don't talk about, you know, HIV. We'll talk about, oh, yeah, the chlamydia, gonorrhea, the clap, you know, don't get it. But, you know, other than, you know, if when it comes to HIV, that's, you know, it's a void.
Now, you did say that you are a fresh bachelor out there now. Can you tell us about that last relationship? How long was it?
The last relationship was about 1.5 years. And
was he infected or uninfected?
He was not infected.
Oh, can you tell us how you met him and how was that whole experience with taking him through that whole?
Well, I first met him, like I said, about 1.5 years ago. I went into a nightclub, you know, just felt like having some drinks with the fellas. And, you know, ran into somebody who I really, you know, liked, and they were easy on the eyes, and things just kind of just took off from there. But it's kind of, you know, started to break down at the end because I became more vocal, more public about my status. And it wasn't that he didn't accept me for being HIV.
Okay. Sorry.
No problem.
It's okay.
Because it was in it last time.
Oh, it's okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
Your phone. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay.
Okay.
He
You can
became
just pick.
public.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I became more public about my HIV status, and it was hard for him to deal with because he was more so worried about what people would think about him, which is kind of very, you know, short-sighted. I don't want to judge him or, you know, do that or call him out or anything, but, you know, I felt it was very unfair. And probably it was the first time I've ever been rejected because of anything dealing with my status.
Yeah, but it took him 1 year to reject you. It's not something that.
Yeah, you know, but when you see a commercial about your partner and then everyone is calling you about, hey, are you okay? I just saw something, you know, Martinez is on TV and, you know, are you okay? Or,
Which
did he ever
commercial
tell
are you
you?
speaking
It's a commercial with the Greater Than AIDS campaign, and I'm speaking with my mother on the video about her support for me, which is, it was fantastic.
So what do you do with that organization? I know it's a prominent non-profit.
I'm an ambassador for the campaign, and I do a little bit of public speaking, tell my story, give different point of views about how people can cope with it, how families can be more supportive of people who are HIV positive, and of course, maybe go into a school sometimes and talk to children about HIV awareness and prevention.
Now, you did say cope with it. Now, when it comes to this pill, if we get back on to the one-a-day pill, you said it was your first time dealing with rejection. So how would this one-a-day pill, which you've heard of a year ago, which just came out now again, because I guess it's more advanced, it's more effective than before, but it's the same Truvada as before. How would this pill help you cope with rejection and most likely overcome rejection and offer like a comfort, blanket to those who aren't infected but can't resist your smile?
That's a good one. Well, I don't know. I can't really put a tangible number or statistic on that, but I think that it will help. For people who are definitely open-minded and educated about HIV, they will continue to be open-minded and educated about it. But for people who don't have the information, and for some reason it's 2011 and they haven't caught up with the rest of the world yet as far as educating themselves, unfortunately, I just believe those people will still not take that. They won't be open about it. They won't be open to taking it uphill to prevent themselves. A lot of people just don't like pills anyway.
Now, you did say you take Truvada. Can you explain that? The description of it, the taste of it, and how do you have to take it?
Well, it's not an oversized pill. It's a blue pill, and I take that once every day. I normally take it once at night in combination with a few other pills, and it works great for me because my CD4 is very high. I have a CD4 of over 600, and I'm undetectable as far as my viral load is concerned, and I'm doing well. I've never had an issue with Truvada, no side effects, and I think that'll be attractive to someone who is, dating someone who's HIV positive and want to take that measure.
Is it safe to say that even if you're not consciously dating someone who's infected, it's almost as if you're popping another calcium pill or vitamin D pill, because we take those pills just to be precaution, just in case it might happen, just in case he don't know or she don't know.
Yeah.
I will protect myself. How effective do you think that would? You think people would be more open to take something? Because I can essentially die from AIDS. So if I would, save myself, would people take it?
Right. I think so. I think they would if it came down to it, and they really were, into the person that they were dating, and they wanted to continue a relationship or a sexual relationship, what have you. That would be an option, and I think people would be open to it. But in combination with a condom, of course.
Yeah, because people think, so if I don't wear my condom, I could just pop a little
Absolutely
blue
not.
pill,
Right.
not Viagra or Truvada. So can you speak more on that? Because people are thinking that, I could be more promiscuous, and it's like the birth control.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not gonna, cover it up, but I can go to the birth control.
Yeah, or
section
just like
and prevent
the
that.
oral sex isn't really sex thing, But yeah, of course, you have to take